Could you tell me a little bit about the film challenge in 1, 2 minutes to present it to people who may not know it?
Sure. So the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge is a weekend film competition where over the course of a weekend, participants write, shoot, edit, and submit 3 to 5 minute films that have
Wow.
somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. As you can see right behind me, this is actually a step and repeat from the Easterseals
Yeah, excellent.
Disability Film Challenge. So we've had hundreds of films created. And some of those have been first-time actors, writers, directors, and producers, but we've also had Emmy and Oscar winners take part in the film challenge. So
Yeah.
people with disabilities are 25% of the population, but
Mhm.
yet we're in less than 3% of film and TV shows.
Yes, you
So
are.
with the
And
yeah,
yeah.
so really with the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, we've been a solution to that lack of representation by giving people a chance to make films and not just talk about the lack of inclusion, but actually be proactive in their careers. And then the final product ends up getting to screen at amazing festivals around the world, including yours in France.
Yeah, the job you're doing, the groundwork you're doing is just amazing. The films are very diverse, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
Yes.
They are high quality. And to be very specific about it, so you have to have either a director or someone staring in front of the camera that has a disability to be eligible to the challenge. That's it, I'm correct?
Yes. So each film has to have somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. And the
Okay,
whole reason behind that is this is about inclusion.
it is.
So, because once you work with somebody once, you generally continue to work with them. I've been very lucky as a little person to have acted in over 40 TV shows and movies and gotten the chance to be on Boardwalk Empire, which led for me to be on, like I was on The Sopranos, which led to me being on Boardwalk Empire. So ultimately, it's like work leads to work. But for
Yes.
many people with disabilities, they haven't gotten the chance to have that first major job. So
So
with
they
the
need,
Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, we're giving people the chance to kind of tell their stories, to put themselves out there. But even beyond that, to just build their network. So they're starting to do one short film, and then we've seen some people turn that into a web series, a TV show, even
and
feature
keep
films are
going.
being made. Yeah.
Because yeah, inclusion is kind of a big word in Hollywood. Everybody talks about it. You have a lot of roundtables and discussions about it. But you, with the challenge, you are doing stuff. You are making stuff happen. You are giving the
Yes.
chance to these amazing people, talented people, to kind of break in, show what they're capable of, so they can start showcase their talent, be noticed, and then keep working in the industry. So you must
Yeah.
have tons of success story to tell.
We really do. It is such an honor. This was the seventh Easterseals Disability Film Challenge.
Okay.
So this started in 2013. Our first film challenge was in 14, and we've had hundreds of films created. People have gone on to work on major TV shows, movies, get hired behind the camera for studios, for networks. So these jobs keep coming. But the greatest success story is that we keep seeing new content,
Yeah.
new films that showcase people in ways they've never seen. Wheelchair users that are bank robbers, people with Down syndrome that are in love stories. So it's playing the kind of roles that we want to play and seeing ourselves as people with disabilities for the first time authentically, because we're the ones that are also telling the story. So we're writing it. And
Yeah.
as you can see, even from right here, this is
Yeah.
just a screen grab from somebody on set. So this is a wheelchair user behind the set who's writing, who's working behind the camera, in the camera department as well. So it's learning experience,
Did
because
you
ultimately the more you're on set and you're working in the field, the more jobs, the more exposure you're going to get to the industry.
did you see a difference between the moment you started the challenge and now? How has it evolved? Have things changed in a positive way, and how would you describe that?
Absolutely. So, I can't take all the credit because there were a lot of pioneers in the disability inclusion movement before the Disability Film Challenge. But when I started that in 2013, there was almost no representation. And then more and more, we're seeing opportunities come to people that take part in the film challenge. And then in 2017, I partnered with Easterseals, which is the largest disability services organization in the US, and they also work all over the world. And
And
so we've really kind of blown it up
that's
to the next.
so that's how we got to meet each other. Actually, that's how we get to discover what you do.
Yes. Yeah. So that's that kind of extra exposure and those partnerships have led to these collaborations. And then beyond that, just as we've seen more and more films made each year. And so at the same time, the industry, we're seeing more and more people in starring roles, The Peanut Butter Falcon, all of these movies are being made. And some of these people, they got their first time ever doing anything in the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. So it's about starting and then continuing to build your career. And I can't take all the credit for the success within the industry and this amazing influx of disability representation that is happening. But I certainly am honored that we have had a nice part in that movement, because with the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, again, it's not talking about the problem, it's about being proactive in your career. Yeah. And it's about putting yourself out there in a positive way and sharing something. And as you have such an amazing film festival in Paris, which we're honored that we've had our film screen at and that we continue to screen there. But you see thousands of films that are submitted to your festival. And I like to think that our films stick out more because there's nothing like that out there in the world of authentic talents.
It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. I think the ultimate goal for me would be that movies with disabled people, at the end of the day, would be exactly the same than any other movie. That would be the goal. What do you think of that?
I agree. Ultimately, just like for me, I don't look at every role I take and say, oh, I wish this should be written for a little person. I just say, oh, this is a great role and I could play it. I think with the film challenge, we have nothing in our assignment that says the films have to be about disability. They have to follow an assignment and they have to include people with disabilities. But the storyline, it doesn't have to be about people's disabilities. And in fact, a lot of times we encourage that. We say, tell your story. So, in terms of like the inclusion, we just want to see, these are talented people that work in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah.
So they just deserve to be part of productions. And ultimately, when you're talking about 25% of the population in the world has some form of disability, this is an authentic representation. So if you're not being inclusive and just writing the world for how it is,
you're missing.
As time goes on, you're going to lose out on people that want to see themselves authentically. If they're going to say, hey, I'm going to pay $20 to go see this movie or that movie, you would rather see yourself.
Yeah, you're missing. You're talking kind of on the business side. Yes. Inclusion is a positive way of saying we want to be relatable to everybody in the audience. And if you don't have this type of person or this type of person, you're going to miss out in a potential customer. So
absolutely.
That may be very marketing in a point of view, but I think this approach is a way to push the envelope and to make decisions happen, to change the landscape.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with the challenge is you're giving it a platform. You are showing it to everyone in a way that that's just positive and encouraging. And it comes back to the point, it's just movies. And if the movie is good, then me as a manager of a film festival, I'm going to want to screen the movie. I'm going to want to select the movie. So that.
But also, I think we're in a time now where even beyond there's so much content out there. Yeah. So you need to tell something different. if you're a filmmaker, even if you're not going to include people with disabilities, which I think you should, because we're the most underrepresented community and we have so many talented people. The issue right now is there are thousands of films being submitted, and you need to tell something unique and truly authentic. So these kind of stories that haven't been told yet, you're actually separating yourself from other films.
Sure.
Because one, there can only be so many let's redo this movie or let's redo that movie. And ultimately the movies that break out, that get nominated for Oscars, have this kind of authentic feeling. So there's something about them where it's, you feel connected. It resonates with you.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's with the film challenge. We're seeing that people are making these films that they're able to say, oh, wow, I don't have to talk about my disability. I don't have to do this. But, it's an extra layer that adds a little extra frosting to the cake that you can go in there and use what you have for another. It doesn't have to be the theme or the plot of your movie, but you are adding an extra interesting layer to have, somebody with a disability in a role that wouldn't normally be for somebody with a disability. And I think also when you have that same person involved in the writing, because ultimately, we're making a big push in front of the camera, but when behind the camera, we need just as many people that are decision makers that are in the writer's room, because that's where ultimately the story stems from. And that's how we're going to get the authentic tales versus, I want to know what it's like to be a little person. And, you need a little person in that room to really tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely. The theme last year was science fiction.
Yes.
The movie we screened was Parents Inc., directed by Amy Hopper. And this year we're going to screen 3 movies. We're going to screen Human Helper, I.O., and The Vanished. So The Vanished, directed by Rachel Handler, won the Best Awareness Campaign with the challenge.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this awareness campaign?
Yeah, so we have different categories. We have Best Film, Best Director, Best Actor, and we also have a Best Awareness Campaign. So that is a campaign where after the films are made and they all end up on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel, we have a 10-day competition where everyone tries to get as many likes, views, and shares for their films as possible. And this film, they got so much press for their film, over 100,000 unique views, where people are really watching the film fully. And, really, they just did such an amazing job. And there's so many different people with disabilities. I think there was over 6 or 8, could be 10 actors with disabilities in the cast. But they did an amazing job telling their story. And really with the awareness competition, the mission of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge is to create opportunities for people with disabilities in front of and behind the camera, but also in turn to change the way the world views disability. Because we want people to see ourselves represented. And with the awareness campaign, really, they've done an amazing job of not just making the films, but getting them out there. And so people with disabilities are able to see themselves represented. And not only that, just anybody is able to enjoy these films and say, oh, okay, that's cool. I never would have thought of a wheelchair user robber, or I never would have thought as a romantic lead with a developmental disability, or a little person banker, or, so all these things, they're able to, not only share their films, but also share their own stories.
We have one of our jury member this year. That's Cole Sibus from the ABC show. Did Cole, he was in one of the videos the challenge made?
Yes.
Recently?
So I believe he was in a film, and I think he was actually going to be in this year's. So he's been a supporter of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. And we're so just honored to have him a part of it and help us share. And, we've had so many people that have, Jamie Brewer, who won Best Actor in 2017. She's a recurring character on American Horror Story, was the first actress with Down syndrome to act on Broadway. So we're seeing so many of these just amazing people. There was a ABC show called Speechless. And last year, one of our Best Actor nominees was Michael Fowler, who's the star of Speechless. So he's acting on a TV show and, for multiple years. And he's also acting in the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, where he gets to be the love interest and in a cool science fiction film. Yeah. And actually his dream is to be in Star Wars. So this actually gives him that opportunity to play the different kind of role than, he's playing in his day-to-day job, where he's actually already on a major TV show.
That's one of the goals. That's real networking. That put them on the map. And then some of them started with a challenge. Some of them came to the challenge after they had some kind of breakthrough success. So I like the fact that it's a circle, a positive circle that never ends. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and even beyond that, because ultimately this is about inclusion. So everyone is at different levels. Marcia Gay Harden, who is an Oscar-winning actress from the film Mystic River, she also acted in this a short film that was nominated for Best Film in 2018 for the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. So we have people at all different levels. We've had studio feature film directors, people that have directed major movies, direct a film for the Film Challenge. So it's all about, it doesn't matter where you are in your career. It's about, we're all in the entertainment industry and we're all in this medium because we have a passion for it. We love to tell stories. We generally want to do something that's that really connects into our soul as artists and for the whole mission to why we do what we do in this medium. And I think the Film Challenge allows people at all different levels to tap into that passion. And ultimately, it gives them a platform to change the way the world views disability.
Yeah, it does. I think that's really the kind of actions that are going to change people's mind, because it's a movie, so people are going to see for themselves that everybody's the same and that everybody has its own set of skills. And I think people need to see that, so we can keep going in the right direction to, I don't like the word, but kind of to normalize, so people understand there is no difference. It's just, people are different anyway, but we all the same at the same time.
And the thing is too, that, disability is not a bad word. So we are the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge because there's a very smart man named Lawrence Carter Long who says, say the word. It's not a bad word. It's important to say disability because it's part of our identity. And we have a community of people with disabilities. So, it's important for us to really be proud of who we are. So we're not saying to hide away from it. We should embrace our disability. It doesn't have to be the story of your film, but certainly you could be proud to have your disability. And I think we're getting into a place now where people have a lot of pride, and in many underrepresented communities are really just embracing the pride of the LGBTQ movement, of, all these different, underrepresented communities, which we work with actually, because they all intersect in disability. Yeah. And so we're seeing so much pride, from the Sundance Institute. We work with collaborative partners that are also connected with the Sundance Institute. And so, I think this now is a movement where people with disabilities we're 25% of the population, and that's many different kinds of disability, but we're all in the same family and we're all in this together to collectively see ourselves represented. And, we all see it as a win. When RJ Mitty, who is a Film Challenge judge, when he stars in Breaking Bad, one of the most critically acclaimed shows of all time, that's a win for everybody with a disability.
Even years after they stop broadcasting, it still has such an influence on people's views.
Absolutely.
So that's just cool. So what are, I know this is the pandemic and everything, but the next edition of the Disability Film Challenge, what do you have in mind for it, and what can we expect from it?
So I can't give anything away. You know, we've had a
Yeah.
lot of people trying to get bribes. But with right now, for us, the safety of our participants are the main focus, because people with disabilities are the most susceptible. There's many people with weaker immune systems. So first and foremost, we want to keep our participants safe until we know that we have a time and a platform to do it in a safe way. But with that being said, right now, we've been doing workshops. So we did an acting workshop with CBS, a writing workshop with NBC. We're doing camera workshops, editing. So we're giving our Film Challenge participants so many opportunities to continue learning through the Sundance Institute, through all of our partners. So right now, more than ever, it's important for our artists and our participants to continue to create and to tell their story. We're doing virtual screenings. We're screening with amazing partners like yourself, to French audience, to people from all over the world, screenings in Australia. So right now we're using this time as a place and a time for us to really encourage our Film Challenge participants to continue working as artists, and also to share the films that they've already made, and to continue to polish their packages and get ready, because this is going to get better soon. And when it does, we want to make sure that the momentum is there, because we've seen so much success and we want to continue to see that. But we'll be back. The Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, we have so many people that are excited and sharing and waiting until it is safe for us to announce our challenge.
And we will be there to support you and to keep supporting the challenge and all the team. And we have to catch up when I'm back in LA.
Yes.
We have to meet in person. Finally.
I would love that.
That would be cool. Excellent. Okay.
Well, that's awesome.
I think we're good. How many time do we have? I can't see that. Okay.
So it's 11:28. So it's like, we got
almost half an hour.
Yeah.
Do you have any connections to land people with disability into feature films?
So what do you mean? To do
do you, I don't know, for example, the top of my mind, do you work with, I don't know, Paramount or Fox or Disney? So
yeah, so this is really cool. We actually have a database of people with disabilities that work behind the camera, as well as we're reached out on a weekly basis by studios, by networks, or they're saying, hey, we have a great role. Somebody, Netflix reached out and said, we have this major recurring role. We're looking for this type of actor. And I don't want to say who the actor is yet, because that's going to be a major press release when it's announced. Okay. But literally somebody from the Film Challenge who didn't have an agent, we submitted, and ultimately this major role in a film went to a Film Challenge participant, because they were able to audition and watch the film, from the Film Challenge. So and I won't say who the actor is, but I will say that you've screened the film already.
So you really play the role of getting people together.
This so another example of that is Peter Farrelly, who the Farley brothers directed some of the most iconic movies of all time, of comedies, Dumb and Dumber, Something About Mary. Peter Farrelly just won an Academy Award for Green Book. So he was a mentor in 2015 for Best Director. And he reached out and said, hey, I got this great role for a little person actress. It's a major recurring role in a TV show. do you have any ideas? And so not only were we able to give him ideas, we were able to send him 10 films that starred little people actresses in major three-dimensional characters. So he auditioned all 10 of those actresses. And Sophia Cheyenne, who is a theater actress based out of New York, got a major 2-season recurring role on a TV show, all from her just being
Amazing.
a part of a weekend film competition.
So that's a casting director job mixed with a management representation you're doing.
Yeah. And it all goes, and we just refer. So we're not an actual innate, many of our participants have agents. And in fact, many agents find clients through the film challenge. So for us, we want to work with our partners, and we want to, make our mission happen, which is to create those opportunities for people with disabilities in front of and behind the camera, and to change the way the world views disability. So for us, it's a win-win when we have some of our partners, Universal Pictures, who also had an amazing success story last year through the film challenge. HBO, NBC has had multiple people hired that they've discovered through the film challenge. So these opportunities are happening all the time, and that's what we love. That was the whole goal of the film challenge.